lately, there's been a lot of information about the Ferguson Police Department, especially some of their past behavior when it comes to people who are minorities and the way that they treat them. A really telling story came out in the Daily Beast today, written by Michael Daly, about a 52-year-old man by the name of Henry Davis. Now, back in 2009, police stopped him while he was driving, and apparently they were looking for someone who had the same name and who had a warrant out for his arrest. Now, unfortunately, the cops didn't do a proper investigation. They just saw that his name was also Henry Davis, and they decided that they were going to arrest him. But they didn't give him any answers to any of the questions that he had. They arrested him without saying anything, and he had a huge problem with that. Now, keep in mind, they had the wrong guy. The person that they were looking for had a completely different middle name and a completely different social security number. There's Henry Davis right now, so you're going to get a sense of...
That's the incorrect guy. That guy was
the wrong guy.
He was a welder. He was working that night, and it was what, like 1 or 2?
It was in the middle of the night.
Middle of the night, they pulled him over, and he pulled over because he pulled off the highway because it was raining too hard. And he didn't feel safe driving home, so he pulled off the highway just to wait out the rain. Cop comes up behind him, runs his plate because there's a black guy sitting in a car, and the name came up Henry Davis, even though they have different middle names. And the cop,
Social Security.
and different Social Security numbers, and the cop goes arrested.
And he kept trying to tell the cop that arrested him, you got the wrong guy, there's no warrant out for my arrest, but they didn't listen to him. Davis said the cop approached his vehicle, grabbed his cell phone from his hand, cuffed him, and placed him in the back of the patrol car without a word of explanation. Now, at that point, they took him to jail, right? The booking officer summoned a number of fellow cops. One opened the cell door while another suddenly charged, propelling Davis inside and slamming him against the back wall. I told the police officers there that I didn't do nothing. Why is you guys doing this to me? They said, okay, just lay on the ground and put your hands behind your back. They started hitting me. I was getting hit and I was just covered up.
So at one point, a female officer comes in and handcuffs him. Then they start kicking the shit out of him, okay?
Yeah.
And then one of them sounds like he almost got a running start and then kicks him. And so that's when he gets bloodied, right? And all the time it's the wrong guy, but they didn't bother doing a thorough enough investigation. And all the time you have to understand something. He never resisted.
He never resisted, and we have proof that he never existed, overwhelming proof that he never existed. And you're leaving out one thing which I think is really telling, because I don't think that cops, even in Ferguson, although they might, because again, they're how many officers they have? 53?
53.
53 of the 89 dumbest people in America work at the Ferguson Police Department. That's a fact. I looked it up. This guy, it was 3 in the morning. He gets there, and they have stacked up by the desk sergeant a bunch of mattresses, little mats. And he goes into a one-person cell, one cot, tiny little cell, one person. There's already somebody in it asleep on the cot. It's 3 in the morning. He looks at the wood, at this tiny room and a cement floor, and he says, can I get one of those cots? And the cop says, you're not getting nothing. And then he says, you want me to sleep on the floor? I didn't do anything. You've dragged me down and you want me to sleep on the floor. So to them, he opened himself up to it. He was uppity. He was angry. He was giving them lip. He got mad because they couldn't be persuaded to give a guy a little mat to put on the floor when they're only supposed to put one guy in the cell to begin with so that he could lie down at 3 o'clock in the morning on the cement floor. That gave them the right to, hey, we got good news. We got a guy who's trouble. Let's go.
And you know what I
Get
say?
the tank.
Those are just a couple of bad apples, nothing to worry about. Next story.